Hello and welcome to another episode of In the Mix presented by CrossBones MMA Radio. I'll be your host, John Galloway, and today, as we look at the world of combat sports, I'll be joined by my guest, Rick Hawn. Rick, John Galloway, CrossBones MMA, how's it going today?
Going well, thank you.
So, Rick, you were recently on the market for a very short amount of time, one of the most highly sought-after free agents that we've seen in recent time, and Titan FC came along and snagged you up. Were you surprised that you got released by Bellator and had the opportunity to move to a different organization?
Yeah, a little bit. Having, when you lose two in a row, nowadays it usually means that, or a lot of times it means that, you're going to get fired or let go. So, but because of my past performances, I figured, I might at least stick around and be, they'll hold me for a little longer. But, they're going in a new direction now, with Scott Coker in charge, and they're kind of changing the face, the whole face of Bellator. So, I just think I didn't fit their mold of what they're looking for in terms of a fighter, and so that's fine. It happens all the time, and I'm just happy Titan was there to pick me up.
Yeah, and I know they were excited that they had the opportunity to grab you. They've put you on the card that's coming up December 19th at the Sangha Center in Lowell, Massachusetts. But as of yet, you don't have an opponent. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe so. As of today, I think they might have had someone. So they're working on that. So yeah, it's a short notice thing. So it's I think it's hard to get someone that can make weight in a few weeks' time. And so I think it's coming together now.
Now, you know that you're going to be on the card. So you're currently in a fight camp and working on things, staying in shape. Is that true?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been training since about a week after my last fight. So I was in the gym training, working on stuff, and then it was about 4 weeks that when I got signed to Titan, and they said I'll be on the 19th card. So I've been training pretty hard for the last several weeks. So yeah, I'm ready to go. Now,
how does this camp compare to previous camps? Did you usually do you usually game plan for specific opponents? Do you usually just focus on what you can control in the ring and how you're, the game plan you plan on implementing? Is not having a named opponent yet, throwing that timing off in your camp, or is this business as usual?
Yeah, obviously, when you have a specific opponent and that you're planning for, you have, several weeks, several months usually to prepare for that. And this time, obviously I don't have that luxury, so, I'm working on everything like I always do. I'm pretty well-rounded and decent at pretty much everything. So whoever I get put against, whatever they bring to the table, I'll be ready for. I'm always in the gym. I'm always working on everything. So, always improving. So, whoever it is, I'll be ready.
Now, let's take a step back away from Titan for a moment. For the listeners that possibly don't know or don't recognize the name, you have a pretty storied background in another martial art outside of the cage, and that's the Olympic art of judo. How exactly did you get started with judo?
I was quite young. My father got me started in it, and at the age of 12, and right away it was something that I really enjoyed, and had that. My dream was to after like a year or two of doing it, to hopefully make the Olympic team one day, and that was my passion at the time, and throughout my teenage years, and that's all I did was focus on trying to make improvements and get picked up like a residency at the Olympic Training Center like I did eventually after high school. So that was my focus in my early years.
Yeah, and when you're at OTC in Colorado, you're full-time training. You're focused on that goal, and ultimately you made you achieved that goal. You qualified for the 2004 Olympics at those games. You went 2-2 and finished 9th place. But you have also just you have medals, national championships, Pan American Games medals. How has that exposure and that experience in your life helped you with the exposure and with the I don't want to say the limelight, but the fanfare that you get with your MMA career?
I think it's just kind of transitioned pretty easily for me to go to MMA. Like you said, I've competed at the biggest tournaments and championships in the world, and obviously there's has a big following outside the U.S. and Europe and Asia. So being in front of thousands of people competing, and it was nothing really new for me, and having that pressure of competing in front of people, and so that part of it being center stage, like in a fight and with everyone watching you, wasn't really anything that I wasn't used to. So it came quite naturally.
Now, when you did step into the cage, you fought for some smaller shows a little bit, and then you got your break going into Bellator. Twice you won your tournament. You were the season 6 lightweight tournament winner. You won the season 9 tournament at the welterweight, and in the season 4 for the welterweight tournament, you were the runner-up. Now, what kind of competition did Bellator provide for you that you were that successful going through their tournaments, seemingly one after another? Were they just, were you just a cut above everybody else? Did it relate to the judo background? Was it happenstance? What do you think attributed to that success?
I think it was a little bit of everything. I was obviously well prepared, and coming from a judo background, we often compete, several weeks in a row. You go to the European tour, and you're over there, and each weekend you have a tournament, and so mentally and physically you're prepared for that. You have a training camp in between those tournaments, so competing at a high level in a very rough and violent sport, back to back kind of tournaments and preparation for those events was something I was quite used to. So obviously MMA is a little more violent, and a lot more injuries can happen. But I was fortunate enough to, in between all those tournaments, to be pretty healthy in between fights, and in the lightweight tournament had 2 early knockouts, and stay pretty much unmarked until the final. So but I think it attributed to my judo background and mentally and physically being used to competing back to back, and when you're banged up.
Now, looking at your past and looking at some of your previous opponents, there's a number of them that are now you can face again coming into Titan, as they are under contract with Titan. Does that interest you, having those rematch fights against some of these guys like Lloyd Woodard's there, and some of the other guys that you've fought previously? Or are you looking to expand into other, new matches with different fighters?
Yeah, definitely. New guys. If it's someone I've lost to in the past, then yeah, sure. I'd like to get a rematch with that person, if it's ever possible. But anyone that I've beaten, you mentioned Lloyd Woodard, but it's I was able to knock him out in the second round. So there's no interest for me, at least, to fight those kind of guys over again. I already did my time with them. So.
Right.
So it's on to new guys and different guys, and we'll see where it goes.
Now, you signed a 4-fight deal with Titan, is that correct?
Yes.
Have they talked to you or given you any indication or hint about a title shot? I know obviously without even having your first fight, without having your first opponent, it's hard to say, but. Have they intimated to you that, there's a possibility for you to make a quick title run here?
Not really. We haven't really sat down and talked with them yet. Jeff or Lex about it. It's just kind of been, things haven't happened so fast in the last couple of weeks, so they've just been scrambling trying to get me an opponent for this card. But, obviously, I got to get back on the winning column and get some momentum going before I'm considered for a title shot, I'm sure. So, it's going to take a few fights before I get that chance, and that's fine. I need to prove myself, and I'm worthy of competing and holding that title.
Well, I think, they and we fully expect and, hope to see that for you and, get back in that winning column. But along the way that there's been people that have stuck with you, there's sponsors that have helped you out and, travel with you from one organization to another. You have a couple that you want to take a second to mention?
Yeah, absolutely. Fuji Sports, they've been with me for, I think since before my MMA career even started. So, great jiu-jitsu gi company, MMA apparel, jiu-jitsu apparel, judo apparel, and uniforms and stuff. So, yeah, please check them out at fujisports.com. They got some great deals going on, and just one of the best companies out there.
All right, now the fight the card is going to be coming up. It's December 19th at the Sangha Center in Lowell, Massachusetts. If people can't get there live, they can view it on CBS Sports Net online or CBS Sports on your TV and your local TV and cable provider. But if people can't get out to that fight that night, they want to follow Rick, they want to see what happens with you and what's going on in your future here, where can they follow you personally on social media?
Yeah, absolutely. I have an athlete page, Rick Hawn, on Facebook, Rick Hawn MMA on Twitter, and Instagram and I'm also on Score Sports, so under Rick Hawn. So yeah, please give me a follow. That'd be great.
All right. Well, Rick, we wish you the best and hope everything works out well for you. But I'm going to wrap up this episode of In the Mix with John Galloway, presented by CrossBones MMA Radio. I'd like to extend a big thank you to Rick Hawn for joining us today. For Rick, this is John Galloway, and we are tapping out.